All right, let's do this. Welcome everyone. So glad to have you here. This is the Uper Farmer again. And this video is going to be a lot different than a lot of the ones I've been doing. As you notice, it's not actually a video. Went out deer hunting this last weekend. Had a blast out there. Had a lot of good dark stout beers. Also smoked more than a few cigars. It was a great time, but we had two big hiccups that happened. The first one is I got out there and I ended up breaking my headset that I use for my microphone. So if you notice the sound is different, that's because it is. And then I also broke my stand that holds my phone for shooting the videos. So it just was a couple too many things that stacked up against me, so decided to do this video. I've been planning on doing this one anyway, talking about the chicken coop. And yeah, so let's show off our wintering chicken coop, where our chickens are going to stay here on the Uper farm. So here, this first picture, kind of a lot going on. What you have up front there are our summer runs. These would actually hook onto our chicken tractors, our mobile chicken coops, and then we could take both the chicken coop and this run there up front and kind of walk them all around the yard all summer long. Really good for the chickens, very healthy for them, good for our yard. It helps cut down on a lot of bugs and fertilizes the grass nicely. So what we did there in the back is we actually made a hub where these runs actually connect onto the hub. This not only gives our chickens a lot more area to move around, but allows us that if we need to remove one of the runs or add another run or whatever it might be, it's still modular. We can kind of build it up, build it down, which I think is going to be really nice come this summer again, and even the next winter, even during the winter here, we might be able to do a little bit more with our chickens. On this picture is just a different view here. You can kind of see the two summer runs next to the winter run, hooked up to the winter coop. Those two big white pipes up front there, those are what we use for feeding the chickens. We used them all summer long. Plans are pretty plentiful online on how to use those pipes to feed, make auto feeders. You just fill the food up top. They work really, really nice. I highly recommend them with some modifications. One, it does keep the chickens from pooping in their food. If you get one of those usual chicken feed containers you can buy at most farm supply stores, the chickens love to roost on there and will poop right on top of their food, which I kind of have an issue with. This prevents that, but the thing we're going to try this summer, the problem we had all summer long, is that with the hot and cold days, we'd have a lot of condensation inside those plastic tubes, those plastic pipes, which led the food to mold up quite a bit. So this summer, I think what we're going to do is with that metal insulation that you see back there, the bubble wrap that's surrounded by tin foil, we're going to put that inside the tubes, and that should cut down on that condensation building up and keep the food from getting wet and kind of gumming up the works in there. So that'll be a video maybe for later. We'll show you how to make those and then how we actually are going to upgrade them to try and get rid of that condensation. Another little view of the chicken coop there. The one thing you can see down there at the bottom of the picture, there is electricity run to their coop. These chickens are going to be high-tech chickens and will allow us to do a lot more with them this winter. You can also see on the winter run, we don't have the actual fencing nailed up top there. Two reasons for doing that. One, we did definitely run out of it, and before this picture was taken, I didn't have time to go get more. But we have kind of an added little benefit is that we can actually get in there and kind of corral some of the chickens, and I'll talk about why that was essential here in a little bit. But it allows us access to their run, which actually was kind of a neat little benefit we weren't anticipating, but has been working really well. So here's the inside of the coop. Pretty straightforward. We actually opted to put the water container inside the coop. We have a lot of, again, that bubble wrap surrounded by foil, that tin foil insulation inside the coop. We kind of went with that instead of the foam board or fiberglass insulation because, one, the chickens don't seem to mess with it. They're not pecking at it or ripping it apart. And then two, with the foam board especially, you can get mice and insects that'll burrow into it and make nests and make homes in them. The same is true with fiberglass insulation. Especially mice love to make little tiny nests in there. So we're trying to keep this as vermin free as we can. We'll see how it works. Again, this is the first year we're trying to winter our chickens. So we'll see how it goes. Like I was talking about, we got the water actually inside the coop. Again, that was kind of one of those things where kind of had a little bit of a conflict back and forth of whether we should or shouldn't. The issue with putting water inside the coop is that if that water leaks into the bedding, it can make the chickens sick. Chickens need a dry environment to sleep in, so if that water starts leaking in there, you're going to have sick chickens in no time. But what we have is, you see those little nipples that come off the pipe. The chickens kind of just bang and peck and chew at those to get water, which is nice. They don't leak if you put them in correctly. Sometimes it might take a try or two, and you might find yourself having to use some sort of joint compound or Teflon tape. But they really don't leak. We really haven't had an issue with them leaking all summer long. And even since we've been using it for the last couple of weeks, we haven't had an issue with the water leaking. If you do build one of these are kind of nice, these auto waterers. So you have a long 6-inch piece of PVC pipe that acts as your water reservoir, goes to a divider that splits off down to an 1.5-inch pipe. Then you just put your little nipples in there and the chickens will peck and get water. I do recommend if you build one of these, a lot of people will go with the screw caps on the end of the feed line. I go with a dump valve. Go with one of those valves that I have there. Makes it really nice. You open that up, it drains all the water out. It's easy enough that my kids all summer long were basically dumping the water out every time they went to give the chickens new water. We did have another model where we made it with a screw cap, and it was just a hassle. The screw cap would leak, the kids wouldn't get it tight enough, Dad would get it too tight, caused a lot of problems, and it wasn't as clean of water. With that dump valve we have on there, the chickens basically had algae-free water all summer long, very clean, and again, very easy to maintain and wash out. You can even stick a power washer in there and power wash the feed tube and then the reservoir if something does start growing. Makes it really super easy. You can also see we got a light set up. I think I have a better picture. Yeah, so here's our electrical shelf. Like I said, we have electricity set up in there. We got a light set up. We ran electricity for a couple of reasons. One is for the light. We want to see if we can extend our chickens' laying season, at least into late winter. We'll see how they fare with having that excess light and how their egg production goes. We do have an outlet also built in that if we have to heat the water, whether we do a rod inside the water or put some heat tape on the outside of the water, we have an extra outlet that we have fed in there. For the light and then possibly the heating element too, we bought these outdoor timers you can see up there. These ones are actually high-tech. They're called Genie, is the app that runs them. We can access those with our phone. So we can turn them on, we can turn them off. We can set timers actually on our phone. It's run off Wi-Fi. So we can actually be anywhere throughout the world and we can access that timer and change the lights. Works really, really nice. We haven't had any issues with it. If it does bug out, there are some easy fixes on how we can quickly and remotely even fix the timer and fix the light. So this next one's another close-up look, kind of getting all the electrical stuff all tied up so the chickens aren't getting into it. If you notice there on the edge, in the middle edge of the picture, we also installed a camera, which is really, I think, going to be kind of fun and really helpful for monitoring our chickens. So the camera we put in, one is to see how the chickens were doing, see how they were interacting with their environment. It allows us to monitor for pests or vermin that might get in there. If we do have an attack, we can see what was attacking our chickens. Also kind of fun, we can talk to the chickens. The kids get a kick out of talking to them. Unfortunately, this camera does not have a temperature monitor, which was one of the things I was hoping to be able to monitor the temperature remotely. I thought I was getting the camera that had it. Turns out this one didn't. So in the future, if I was to build this again, or if I get a new camera, I'm going to want to have a weather or temperature monitor, which some of those cameras do have built in. Here's kind of one of the first pictures we tested out from the camera. It works really nice. You can see we haven't moved the chickens in yet, but it allows us again to monitor from anywhere, which is really nice. We want to go on vacation or go visit grandma and grandpa, or worried how the chickens are doing. We can flip our app on, same app that runs the light switch. We can check in on the chickens and see how they're doing. So here's our chickens. These actually are our light brown chickens, which turns out to be the bully chickens. We have dark brown and light brown. The light brown ones, as you can see here, actually are blocking the coop entrance and will not let our dark brown ones in. This is something actually we were able to see quite early on using the camera, actually. So we're able to watch the chicken behavior. And we found that they were being bullied. If a dark brown chicken runs in here, the light browns would quickly run in and chase them out. And that's one of the other issues with the water, is that because it's inside, the dark brown chickens were actually getting a bit dehydrated. Not that bad. It was only maybe a day they were restricted without water. And that's, again, we were looking through the footage and found that these chickens were bullying the other chickens. So we have since now begun locking them all in at night, which has been helping. They've been getting along better. There's less of the dominance issues going on, which has been working really well. And again, here's another little picture of the light brown bullying the dark brown chickens. That's pretty much come to an end now that we've been locking them in at night. They have really kind of started to get along together. I think in this summer, we're going to divide up the dark brown and light brown chickens between the two different runs, so that they, again, will keep that idea that they can stick together. We hopefully won't have much fighting. So that's pretty much it. That's our wintering coop, our high-tech wintering coop. We can monitor stuff with our phone, switch off lights. I'm hoping to expand on that ability going forward, getting some more stuff we can use around the farm. Again, using that automation, so we're not stuck here at the Uper farm. We can kind of get out, take some vacations. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, want more information about the coop, let me know, and I will talk to you later.